This is the Shaver Prep Football Podcast, episode 19, presented by Aquarius Home Services and brought to you by Truestone Financial and Culver's. And I'll announce our Culver's Player of the Week in just a few minutes. It's National Early Signing Week for college football, and players like Providence Academy star defensive lineman Abu Tarawallie will see his dream come true when he signs with the Gophers this week. Providence Academy star defensive lineman Abu Tarawallie will be signing on the dotted line with the Gophers and taking that verbal commitment that he made back in June and make it official as a Golden Gopher. What do you think, Abu, that's going to feel like when you actually put your John Hancock on that tender and make it official?
Yeah, I think it's going to be definitely one of the greatest feelings in my life. Just accomplishment, relief, and just excitement for what's coming next. I'm glad to make it official. And I think there's no better situation, no better path I could have followed than this one right here.
So is it true that you made like double-digit visits to the U of M campus?
Easily.
Why,
double digits.
Why so many? And was that just because you wanted to be there, or was there a purpose behind that, or what?
I think the first 3 or 4, I was kind of feeling it out. And then after that, I think I just enjoyed going there. So I was just like, why not keep going? And they were so close. It's like, if I have it, I might as well keep going.
So obviously you feel comfortable there. It feels like home to you.
Yeah, I would say it's like a second home to me.
What is it about the Gopher coaching staff that sold you on coming to the U?
I think the coaching staff and the players definitely sold me just because of their warmth and how real they are. And I can tell that they have that tough love that I'm used to. They're not gonna sugarcoat things to me. They're gonna tell me how it is, no matter if it's hard or not. And I just gravitated towards that.
Well, you know what that is. That's, high school is a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful thing, high school football. College football is a little bit more like a business. There's a lot more into it. And so that's probably why there's tough love there, because there's a lot at stake, both on your end and on their end as well. Agreed?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. What do they see you as? Obviously, defensive line.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that conversation. Where do they look at you to play, and what do you need to do body-wise to get yourself ready to play that position?
Yeah, I've actually had this conversation with them a decent amount of times, and every time I ask them what they see me as, what they want me to be, they just tell me they want me to be a defensive lineman, which kind of puts my mind at ease, knowing that they'll find a spot for me no matter how I'm doing, what I'm looking like. But they give me, they said I'll probably put on 20, 30 pounds when I get there. Right now I'm sitting at 270, so I'll probably be 290, 300. And then I'll keep my speed, running a 4.8 right now. So just keep all the perks and gain some more along the way.
What do you think that'll feel like? 290, 300.
I don't know. I've never climbed the scale that high, but it'll definitely be interesting. I'm sure I'll feel a lot more powerful.
I'm sure you will. You played 9 games this fall. You come back off that injury that you had the year before. Everything feels good. You had a good year. You played very good competition. Obviously, the schedule was tough. What did you learn about yourself this year as a football player?
That I can bounce back and come back from anything, and that just perseverance and grit are my 2 best strong suits. No matter how strong, no matter how fast I am, just my mentality helps me through any adversity.
Do you think playing at Providence, playing for Colin, set you up for success? And why would you say that?
I think 100%. I think just the situation we're in, always being the underdogs, always being the ones forgotten, the ones left out, I think it kind of brings an edge to us. And a lot of teams felt that edge. Obviously, some of the games didn't go our way, but after the games, the players definitely knew we weren't the same team as last year, and we came to play.
I don't know if anybody took you as an underdog this year. You guys were pretty darn tough all season long. You have one high school football game left. You're playing for the North in the
Yeah.
All-Star game, December 14th. Talk a little bit about that. What do you expect from that? What are you looking forward to the most in playing in that All-Star game?
I'm super excited for that. I think more than the game itself, I'm excited to meet the players that made it, the players that are in the same situation as me, and just connect with them, see how they're feeling, see what their future is going to be like. Some of the players I already do know, so that's going to be exciting. But I'm excited to meet the new ones as well, and just build relationships from there because that's what it's all about.
Last question. What excites you the most about playing football at the next level? What are you looking forward to the most?
Uh, I'll definitely say my first start, my first sack, my first tackle, and just making friends and comrades along the way.
Well, I'm sure you're going to have an outstanding career. Thanks for doing this. I appreciate you doing this, and congratulations. This is a big deal to sign and play college football at the Division I level. Thanks, Abu.
Yep. Have a good night.
To be honest, I'm a trust guy. If I'm going to let you into my home to repair or upgrade something, I'm going to trust you do it right and provide great customer service for peace of mind. Well, Aquarius Home Services was all that and more. They installed a new Connecticut water system in my home, great drinking water from my faucet, by the way, and an air purification system, so no more dust in my home. It's been a game changer. Quality, service, trustworthy people. Aquarius Home Services, earning the right to be recommended. 6 players from Minnesota will sign with the Gophers, joining Abu, Emmanuel Carmo, linebacker out of Cooper, Colin Hanson, defensive lineman from Byron, Ethan Stendel, quarterback linebacker out of Caledonia, Daniel Jackson, the kicker from Alexandria, and Luke Ryersey, kicker punter out of Eastridge, also playing baseball for the Gophers. Of course, things can change at the last minute, but it sure looks like the Gophers recruiting class for this year is set. And who better to talk all things college football than Randy Johnson, the college football writer for the Minnesota Star Tribune. Well, Randy Johnson is the college football writer for the Minnesota Star Tribune, covering college football in the state, including the Gophers. And of course, it's National Signing Day week. Lots of things can happen between the time we talk and the time that kids actually put pen to paper, but it looks like the Gophers recruiting class is pretty well set at this point. Thanks for doing this. Let's talk about the Gophers and talk about the in-state players. It looks like that they're going to sign 6, a couple of special teams players part of that as well, with Daniel Jackson and Luke Ryersey. But talk a little bit about, in your conversations, what their thought process was for the in-state recruits. Did they get everybody they wanted? And it feels like to me, Randy, that PJ is getting the players that he wants in-state, which is a big priority for any school when they recruit in-state players.
Yes, I believe that's the case with the Gophers this year. You know, it came on the heels of last year getting Coy Parrott to stay in state. That was a pretty big move for them. And they want to keep doing that. It's obviously they've had some guys come back on the rebound, say like a Quinn Carroll and Jackson Howard, but you know they want to get them from the start if they can. Right now, the number one guy in the state is Cooper's Emmanuel Carmo. He has verbally committed to the Gophers, and come signing day, they expect to have him in the fold.
And then, of course, it looks like the 2 top recruits in state were defensive players, Abu Tarawallie at Providence Academy, who I talked to for this show, who's very excited about signing with the Gophers, and Emmanuel, as you talked about. Did they have needs that they wanted to address in state, or was it just the best players at this point?
I think it's a combination. I think defensive line is always going to be a need for them. They like to rotate players there. They want to create a lot of havoc up front for the opposing offensive line. So that's going to be a priority. I think need wise, you can probably look at the specialists too that they're bringing in, because they're losing both Dragan Kesic and Mark Crawford. They do have others on this roster, but more competition is good. See what can develop there.
Luke Ricey, kind of an interesting selection because he decommits from Alabama, where he's going to play baseball and football, and gets the opportunity to do that for the Gophers. Talk a little bit about just the recruiting needs in general for this Gopher football team, not just in state, but overall. What would you say were the top things that they needed to address in this recruiting class?
Well, yeah, like I was saying on the defensive line, that's one of them. You always want to get an edge rusher to help out too. They need wide receivers. That's something that they lose some talent up there, and Daniel Jackson and Elijah Spencer. You'll be seeing a lot of portal activity out of the team too. So it's the high school recruiting is one element. The portal becomes another. It's really changed over the past half decade on how much teams now are relying on the portal and how much they have to deal with NIL situations too.
And that's kind of an interesting situation. And I guess my question is, how much does signing a national letter of intent really mean these days when you look at the transfer portal, when you look at NIL? I mean, I look around at not just Division I see kids deciding to leave UMD to go play, to go in the transfer portal. Does it mean a lot when kids sign this week or not?
It can. I think it all depends on the kid and what he's looking for in his college destination, and then you get to a place and things can change if you don't get the playing time, and you can tell usually by the sophomore year if nothing's really happening there, then you'll see more guys jump into the portal. Now with NIL, you get the higher end kids, and sometimes it's who can offer them a little bit more, and it comes down to that. They have a lot more freedom now, and the freedom has created a bit of chaos too.
So the Gophers, when you look at the positives that attract kids to come play there, I look at the facilities, number one, and I say, wow. I mean, it never used to be that way. And I remember it from way a long time ago. What are the things, what are the strengths of this Gopher football program that allows them to attract kids, not just from in-state, but also out-state too?
I think the facilities help quite a bit. Now that they're not getting blown away when kids go to other places and see, places who have basically a similar situation to what the Gophers have now with the Athletes Village in the new facility. A lot of it too is I've seen how talking to players and their parents, they like what PJ Fleck is doing for the whole college experience, and not just focusing on athletics, but academics, social things, giving, serving the community. I think a lot of players like that sense of personal development that they're getting from the program, and I know the parents like that a lot too. I've had several parents tell me, they really enjoyed and were impressed with that part of Minnesota's program.
Where do you think the Gopher NIL situation fits in the Big Ten scheme of things? Where are they right now in that? And how much of a big deal is that? Maybe not so much for the in-state kids who really, probably in their heart want to be a Gopher, but I'm talking like the Jackson Collicks of the world and people like that. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, again, that's going to be one that it depends on the kid themselves and what they're looking for. But yeah, the Gophers aren't going to be outbidding somebody for a quarterback. He's going to have to feel like it's a good fit here. I'm not just talking Jackson College, but in general,
right?
They're probably, they're I don't know the numbers of all the Big Ten teams. I'd estimate that they're in the lower half of the Big Ten, or even possibly even lower third. But they have improved with Dickeytown athletes and everything. The matches they've had going on, so it's gotten better. They don't necessarily have a Phil Knight like Oregon does to get you a player, or Michigan, with their quarterback situation where they have high end boosters. So that's you'll always see your blue bloods, your current blue bloods, like your Ohio States, your Michigans, your Alabamas, your Auburns, like that, being able to spend on these players. The Gophers kind of have to shop as they did last year, it's a little bit of a bargain basement thing. They bring in Max Brosmer for New Hampshire.
Turned out great.
Worked out really well. They're not going to be, they're not going to be spending at Saks Fifth Avenue.
So, not just the Gophers, but Minnesota in general. It sure look. I mean, there was a few other Power Five kids that will sign with Wisconsin, with Northwestern, with Cal. But the vast majority of high school football players in Minnesota, it seems like, still get great opportunities. I look at NDSU. I look at North Dakota. I look at South Dakota State. I look at South Dakota. St. Thomas has become a destination place for some kids to play college football. How strong do you think Minnesota high school football is when it comes to recruiting? Not necessarily Power Five. We get that. But in general, very good high school football players getting opportunities.
Yeah, I think that there's a decent amount of depth that say the 2-star and the 3-star area with the guys who can go on to FCS programs and some FBS programs too. But you go back to the days of North Dakota State's Division II dynasties in the '80s with kids like Jeff Bentram out of Blaine. They would mine the Twin Cities, very well there. It would be always populated with a ton of Minnesota suburban players mainly too. You go to SDSU, maybe not play as much, but they still hit southwestern Minnesota pretty hard, and they're getting more and more out of the cities now. University of South Dakota, which they're in the playoffs this year. Again, they tend to go a little bit more Iowa, but they will hit Minnesota too for certain players, and North Dakota always has had a Minnesota flavor too. So those are good. Those are good places for a lot of these kids to end up, and you can see that that isn't doesn't prevent them from getting into the NFL.
Absolutely not. And I think you're seeing sometimes kids will choose those places early. And even if they get looks from Division I, they stick with those commitments too.
Yeah.
Which says something about those programs.
Yeah. They've developed players well, and they might get to play a little bit sooner than they would have, say, at a Big Ten program or even, even a different, a MAC program, something like that.
I often said the worst thing the Gophers ever did was ever play NDSU. It's a no-win situation for you, and it's a win-win for them if they beat you. And that's happened before, and we've seen the result, right? NDSU became a power.
And the South Dakota State has given them fits too. Even in the 2019 season when the Gophers were 11-2, they had to sweat out that one. They needed a late turnover to get the winning touchdown. So it was, those teams come down there when they play the Gophers. They have a big purpose in mind, and they want to show that they belong.
Well, it's going to be an exciting week for a lot of kids who actually put their pen to paper, take that verbal commitment, and make it official. For whatever it means down the road, who knows? But at least this week, it's going to be a big thing. Randy, thanks so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it, Randy.
These days, you can get a checking account, a credit card, or a mortgage just about anywhere. But what you can't always find is the personal touch of a neighborhood credit union like Truestone Financial. I've known the folks over at Truestone for years. They put people first. They take time with you. They get to know you. And they use their expertise to connect you with services that help you achieve financial well-being. Truestone is a not-for-profit financial institution owned by the very people they serve, and they're in your neighborhood. Visit truestone.org and get to know them, and they can't wait to get to know you too. Truestone is an equal housing opportunity lender. Well, not every Power 5 player is staying in Minnesota. Luke Emmerich of Monticello will sign with Wisconsin this week. He's an outstanding player. Trey Boyd, the big offensive lineman from Shakopee, will sign his tender with Northwestern, so he'll play Big Ten football as well. And Edina receiver Meyer Swinney will leave Minnesota for the West Coast to play college football with his brother Bastian at Cal. Well, Edina receiver Meyer Swinney will be signing with the University of Cal, committed to Cal back in April, and he joins me. Thanks for doing this. What's it going to be like to actually sign the tender, to actually write your name and make it official?
I think it's just going to be like a surreal feeling. That's the goal from day one, is to make it to the next level. Ever since you're a kid, you're always dreaming about that. So I feel like actually putting the pen to the paper will just make that dream just a little more true, and the biggest dream you can have is probably go in the NFL and have a long career, but that's a step in the right direction.
For those that don't know, your brother, Bastian, is already at Cal. He's an offensive lineman there. So your connection with Cal, likely through your brother, what was that visit like? Because I believe it was an unofficial visit that you made.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. And then how did it just connect right away? Did you just know when you walked on campus, when you got there, this is where I want to be?
Yeah, I went there back when my brother was getting recruited with him. So I went on his unofficial visit, because he never got an official visit because it was COVID.
Sure.
So they never got around to those.
You bet.
So I went on his unofficial with him when I was a real young kid. And then it just kind of like continued our relationship with the coaches and everything. And then I went to like a game day and stuff like that. And then when I got onto my unofficial visit last April, I just stepped on campus, and, I just felt it was that time. I had a meeting with coach and everything, and a bunch of the coaches, and I just felt like it was my place in the time. And I knew that for a long time, I feel like.
It wasn't like the only offer. You were looked at.
Yeah.
I'm throwing out some schools. Tell me if they're right or wrong. Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Miami, Duke, Iowa State, Kansas. Did you ever make official visits with any of them, or did you already make up your mind? This is what I want.
I had official visits planned with Kansas, Cal, and then I was going to get some planned with those other bigger schools as well. And then I really just, once I got to that point, like the unofficial at Cal, and I committed, I was like, there's no point in taking these officials. That would be kind of disrespectful, I feel like, in my judgment, to the school that I've already made the commitment to. Like, once I feel like you commit and shut your recruitment down, it's disrespectful to even talk to other schools or even give them the time of day.
What kind of receiver is Cal going to get?
They're going to get a big, strong, physical receiver he can make plays in the open field, and he can make plays when the ball's up in the air. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could run routes as well. Like, I think they're getting the full package here. Maybe if they want to add some weight on me and put me at tight end, I'm willing to play wherever. I just want to play football and get on the field.
Really? You want to play tight end?
I'll play whatever. I would play whatever position. Okay. Whatever can get me on the field and I can be most successful at. That's what I want to play.
Have they given you some ideas of what they think you need to do to get yourself ready?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I've been tight with the coach for a long time. So, I know a lot of the playbook and all that stuff. Like, I'm getting into that. And I think the one thing that I need to do is probably just don't go in there and act like don't belong there. You got to go in there, act like you belong, and know your worth, and just compete every day. But no, it's not going to be easy, and it's only going to get harder. But you got to keep going. You got to keep going, and then someday it'll get easier.
So you're leaving high school in January to go to Cal. You're graduating early. That's an advantage for a lot of players who decide to do that. Why did you decide to do that? Was it an easy decision for you? And what kind of advantages do you think that holds for you?
I think it was a super easy decision. Football is my life. It's not the only thing in my life, but it's what I take very important to me and what I want to do with my life. And, going to a prestigious university and getting a fresh, a start faster than everybody else, I think that helps as well. Also, getting that spring semester, the spring ball under your belt, I think will make me a lot more developed, not only as like a athlete, but as a player. Like, you can be it'll develop me in a physical way as well, with like the weights and the nutrition that they have me on. But I think it'll also develop me as a player, playing with those guys, and seeing what the next level is really like before that next fall camp.
Every guy that I've talked to that ends up playing college football, whatever size, D1, D2, D3, NFL, if they are lucky enough to get there, once you leave high school, football becomes more of a business.
Yeah.
Right? It's the attitude is different.
Yeah.
And rightly so, because the pressure's different, the expectations are different. Are you ready for that part of it?
I think so. I think I'm ready. I'm ready for that part. I'm kind of a guy that doesn't take too many things personal. I try to not take anything personal. If you're a big time athlete, you're always going to have naysayers and people coming at you, but you just can't take that stuff personally. So like in a business aspect, I feel like, I can, because I won't hold a grudge against somebody if they're, in a business mind rather than a team mind or something like that. I just want to go out there and, succeed and play football. And I think, if you play good, business will be good. So
yeah,
if you play good, you don't even have to worry about it. That's the goal.
For those that don't know, Meyer led the state this year in receptions with 80 through 11 games, receiving yards, 1,263, 17 touchdowns. Doesn't hurt that Mason West is throwing you the football, one of the best quarterbacks in the state of Minnesota and only a junior. What did you learn about yourself this year as a football player? What did you learn this season about you that you think made you a better player this year?
I think I realized that I could really take control of games, and just change the complete outcome of a game. And, I realized that I have to be the guy to give my team the spark, and I have to be the guy to lead my team. And I can't wait for somebody else on the team to make that happen.
Yeah.
I have to make it happen and bring it every game. Being a leader as well, you have to lead. If you don't do certain things, not getting your guys ready for the game, that's on you. So I feel like there's just was a lot more responsibility. And I feel like I owned up to that responsibility this year, and I gave it my 100% honest effort every game, every practice, and, led my guys as best as I could the whole year.
Do you think some of that too is Coach Potts?
Yeah,
because
definitely.
He's a real hands-on coach.
Oh, yeah.
He's a player's coach, at least in my opinion, he is.
Exactly.
Did he do a good job in pushing you?
Oh yeah, he taught me. He didn't just push me, he taught me those characteristics of being a good leader. Every day by him showing it, for example, he leads by example. He leads the team by example. He's not going to go tell you to do something that he's not going to do himself, So I really think that I really appreciate him for everything he's done for me in that program, turning it around and building a culture, that I think will not be broken for a while.
So let's go back to Cal. Next season, week 3, the Gophers
Yes,
come
sir.
to Berkeley to play you guys. What's that going to be like, do you think?
It'll be fun. Like I said, it's nothing personal to me. I try to not take anything personal, just another game. It's JAG. That's what the saying is. Just another game.
Yeah.
I think, there's no feelings about it.
Yep.
I think I'm just going to go in there, and then, if I have the opportunity to play, I know I'm going to do good.
Meyer has one more high school football game left. That's the All-Star game, which is being played December 14th at US Bank Stadium. You are part of the South team. Your teammate, Trill Sorrell, is also on that All-Star team. What do you think that's going to be like? Are you looking forward to that? And how do you prepare yourself for something like that?
I think it'll be super fun, because Trill's going to be on my team. That's one of my good friends. And then he's got a lot of buddies. There's a couple other South Dakota State commits that are going to be on my team. Brody Miller, I think. And then
there's
Russell.
3 of them. There's 3 defensive backs on the South, all going to South Dakota State. It's
exactly.
Will, Brody and Demarius Russell.
And Russell. Yeah. So I think it'll be super fun. Me and Trill have a great connection and a great bond, and those other guys, I'm excited to meet them and play with them, and it'll be super fun, playing with the top guys from each team. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the times there's some, you're not always playing with the top guys on your team, a full team of the top guys.
Right.
So it'll be fun to see how it goes, to how we play together and how it all fits together.
How excited are you? How excited are you for the next step?
Oh, super excited. I'm just waiting for it now. Like ever since the season ended, there's no time to sorrow or anything like that. Don't be sad about an opportunity that was given to you. So I'm not sad about the last opportunity. I'm just looking forward to the next and looking for what's in my future.
Well, we wish you nothing but good luck. Meyer Swinney from Edina heading to the University of California to play college football starting in January when he shows up on campus. Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
We all have go-tos, right? Well, mine is Culver's, and all you have to do is look at my social media for proof. I eat at Culver's almost every day, and I love matching my order number to a star athlete. But more than anything else, I love the food. It's fresh, it's delicious, and it's comfort. I feel good after stopping at Culver's. The people are friendly, the food is made to order, and it just makes me happy, truly. So if you're looking for your go-to, I have a recommendation. Culver's. And our Culver's Player of the Week is number 59, Ryan Babbitts out of Buffalo High School. The Big O lineman will sign with NDSU this week, and they're getting a good one. Babbitts is 6'4", 280, strong blocker with excellent technique, one of 9 Minnesota players heading to Fargo to play college football. As I said, 9 going to NDSU, 8 are signing with North Dakota. 6 Minnesota players will sign with South Dakota State this week, 3 with South Dakota, 6 with the University of St. Thomas, and 11 are going D2 and signing with UMD. And a few mentions: Kyle Frent, tight end, East Ridge, signing with Wyoming. 2 players are going to Northern Iowa. Totino Gray's teammates, Theo Thomas and Josiah Young. Grayson Schneider out of Stewartville heading to Montana State, and Damian Devine of Holy Angels heading to Villanova. Elijah Rumpf, running back, Eden Prairie, will sign with Western Kentucky. Michael Bruggers of Champlain Park is headed to Air Force, and Bo Draheim of Maple Grove is going Ivy League and signing with Cornell. We wish all the players at every level good luck on their next step in their football journey. And next week on this show, future Gopher quarterback Jackson Collick out of California will join me to talk about his next step in his football journey. Also, we preview the Minnesota High School Football All-Star Game, which will be played December 14th at US Bank Stadium, and I'll have a few special guests joining me as well. For producer Alex Haugen and the great folks here at Talk North, thanks for watching and listening, and we'll see you next week.